The Beach and Beyond by Live, Laugh and Learn.
It was in the early 1800s that people began to flock to the beaches for seaside amusement. With the introduction of railroads, ocean seaside beaches became even more popular for the sunny getaways. Although shifts in taste combined with opportunities for Britons to travel overseas has affected Blackpool's status, it is still the UK's biggest and most popular seaside resort. In addition to its sandy beaches, Blackpool's major attractions and landmarks include Blackpool Tower, Blackpool Illuminations, the Pleasure Beach, Blackpool Zoo, Sandcastle Water Park, the Winter Gardens and the UK's only surviving first-generation tramway. The town has played host to many famous acts, films and performances over the years, inspiring many with its undeniable unique charm. It is a town like no other, bursting with character, stories and iconic landmarks recognisable worldwide. So sit back and listen while we tell you our stories of the beach and beyond.
Blackpool attracted many Victorian day trippers who came to see its great beaches. Some Victorians believed that drinking the seawater in Blackpool could cure diseases. Some people even believed it could make you up to 10 years younger.
The bathing machines were changing rooms on wheels. A holidaymaker could go inside and change into bathing clothes, and the machine would be poured into the sea by horses, so people could get into the water rather than walk to the sea. These were managed by people called dippers, who would help people bathe in the sea. At times, hundreds of these carts could be seen in the water at a time. There were once so many bathing machines that Hovis advertised its bread on them.
Professor Green and his family performed Punch and Judy shows on the beach at Blackpool for over 100 years. The first Professor Green had a curved nose, just like Punch. The start of the show was announced by the beating of a drum. Lots of children would gather and enjoy the show, which lasted 20 minutes. Professor Green would come round after the show and collect money from the children. Before pitches on the beach were regulated, lots of performers would entertain the crowds of people who would come to Blackpool Beach, including musicians, acrobats, fortune tellers and performers. There would also be people selling dubious pills and medicines, including Professor Toole, who had huge hair and sold a cure for baldness.
Years ago, Blackpool used to have a tea hut on the beach in a shape of a teapot. It used to sell jugs of tea to people who were sitting on deck chairs on the beach.
In the 1930s, there were 200 donkeys on the beach for people to ride on. The donkeys wore decorations suspended from the straps around their head, a bit like pom-poms. The deck chairs were kept back from a strip of sand the whole length of the beach, which was the donkey's run. The rider got on the donkey and the boy would run behind it and hit it on the bottom so it would run about 200 yards before turning around and coming back. In the 1930s, an observer noted that one of the donkeys wore a medal dated 1912 presented to the owner from the RSPCA. The RSPCA brought about rules on who could ride a donkey and also that they should have a day off, which is now Friday.
Pleasure Beach was founded in 1896 by Alderman William George Bean. Bean bought the land known as Watson Estate with businessman John Outhwaite to make a place where adults would feel like children again. In the 1920s, Bean invested in the Casino Building, a grand Art Deco building which remains to this day. In 1923, land was reclaimed from the seafront and the park moved its 44-acre current location above what was later to become Watson Road, built under the Pleasure Beach in 1932. After his death, his daughter Lillian Dorris and husband Leonard Thompson inherited the park. The Thompson family still run the park today. Today, the park holds many records, including the largest number of roller coasters of any park in the United Kingdom, with 10, 5 of which are wooden. Many of the roller coasters in the park are record-breaking attractions. When it opened in 1994, the big one was the tallest, fastest and steepest roller coaster in the world. The ride still currently holds the record as the tallest roller coaster in the UK at 213 feet, with a drop of 205 feet.
One of the things Blackpool is still best known is for its tower. The tower was originally created to rival the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Many weird and wonderful things have happened at Blackpool Tower, from a giant model of King Kong being placed on the side in 1984 to escapologist Bartoni and his bride being married in a cage suspended from the tower in 1985. The tower is illuminated each year with the rest of the promenade during the annual illuminations, and we hope the tower has many more stories to come.
Over the years, the Winter Gardens had become an iconic building. The Empress Ballroom had held a variety of events, including conferences, concerts and competitions. It had hosted the main annual conference for all three major British political parties, as well as a number of trade unions. The Winter Gardens owners claim that every British Prime Minister since World War II has addressed an audience at the venue. Acts such as the Pet Shop Boys, the Beatles, Queen, Oasis, Radiohead, Slash and the White Stripes have played in the ballroom. The Beatles were especially fond of playing here. However, their favourite place was the ABC Theatre on Church Street, where they played 5 times between July and September 1963. As a flip side to the Beatles' love affair with Blackpool, the Rolling Stones played once and were never invited back. In August 1964, just as the Stones were starting to gain a reputation as the bad boys of rock and roll, they played a show at the Empress Ballroom. According to witnesses, a riot began, possibly because of the band's suggestive performance. Around 30 people were injured. The town council met and decided to ban the group from playing in Blackpool indefinitely. This ban was finally lifted in 2008, although the band have not returned since.